I handed my wife divorce papers in front of 200 parents, teachers, and the school board. Right after she'd just finished thanking everyone for making her the luckiest woman in the world. The thing is, 3 minutes earlier, I'd been sitting in the audience, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold the envelope, wondering if I was about to ruin my son's entire childhood. But then I remembered what Tyler had whispered to me 2 months ago, standing in my home office at 11 p.m., still in his pajamas. "Dad, I saw Mom kissing Mr. Chambers in his office. He was 10 years old. If you've got some time and maybe something to drink, settle in. This one's long and it gets dark before it gets better. So here's the thing, everyone wants to know, why did I wait 2 whole months between finding out and blowing up her entire world at the one event she cared about most? The short answer is strategy. The real answer is I needed that time to stop being the victim and become something colder, something she never saw coming. I'm going to tell you about how my picture-perfect marriage to the PTA president turned out to be a masterclass in lying, how our son's vice principal used his position to manipulate both our family and the school system, and how I dismantled both their lives in one carefully planned night. There's a fallout section that'll make you question whether I went too far. There's a healing section where I had to face what I'd become, and there's an ending that's not quite happy, but it's real. That's the best I can offer you. Let me start at the beginning, back when I still believed in perfect families. My name is Robert, I'm 40 years old, and up until May 7th, 2024, I thought I had it all figured out. I lived in one of those picture-perfect colonial houses in Fairfield County, Connecticut. You know the type, the ones with the wraparound porch and the landscaping that looks professionally maintained because it is. I was a senior software engineering manager at a tech firm pulling in about $180K a year. My wife Amanda was the PTA president at our son's elementary school, Oak Ridge Elementary, one of those prestigious public schools where the parent involvement is so intense it's basically a part-time job. And our son Tyler was a bright, happy 4th grader who played chess and got straight A's. From the outside, we were goals. I'm not even exaggerating. Amanda's Instagram had over 2,000 followers, mostly other moms who wanted to know her secrets for doing it all. She posted these perfectly curated photos of our family at pumpkin patches, of elaborate birthday parties she'd thrown for Tyler, of volunteer events at the school. Every caption ended with her signature. "With gratitude, Amanda." I used to think it was sweet. Amanda and I met back in 2011 at a tech industry networking event. She was working in marketing for a startup. I was a mid-level engineer trying to climb the ladder. She was beautiful. Still is, objectively speaking, with this way of making you feel like you were the only person in the room when she talked to you. We did the whole whirlwind romance thing, engaged after 8 months, married 6 months after that. Tyler came along when I was 30 and she was 28, and she made the decision to quit her marketing career to be a full-time mom. I supported that decision completely. I thought I was doing the right thing. Being the provider, working 60 to 70-hour weeks, taking on extra projects, the occasional business trip. I'd come home exhausted at 8 or 9 p.m. and Amanda would have dinner waiting and Tyler would show me his homework. And everything felt like it was working, like we were building something. When Tyler started kindergarten, Amanda threw herself into school involvement. Classroom volunteer, then room parent, then PTA board member. 2 years ago, she ran for PTA president and won in what I can only describe as a landslide. She transformed that organization. Under her leadership, they raised over $200K for new playground equipment, a STEM lab, an expanded library. Other schools in the district started asking her for advice. She was featured in the local newspaper twice. I was proud of her. I genuinely was, and if I'm being honest, it was convenient. Her having this whole separate world at the school meant I could focus on my career without feeling guilty about missing dinner or skipping another school event. She never complained, or at least, I told myself she never complained. Looking back now, I can see the cracks forming. I just chose not to look at them too closely. It started small, probably back in late 2023. Amanda's phone habits changed. She'd always been pretty casual about it. Left it face up on the counter, Didn't care if I grabbed it to check the weather or change the music. But sometime around October or November, she started password protecting it. When I asked why, she said something about PTA privacy, about sensitive information, about families and fundraising. Made sense at the time. Then, there were the evening meetings. Amanda had always had PTA stuff, but the frequency ramped up. 2, sometimes 3 nights a week, she'd be gone from 7 to 10 p.m. Weekend school setup events for upcoming fundraisers. A Saturday in February where she was gone from noon to 7, setting up for the spring gala planning meeting. Our sex life, which had never been particularly adventurous, but had been consistent, just kind of evaporated. We went from once or twice a week to once a month, then less. When I tried to initiate, she was tired, stressed, had an early morning meeting. I told myself it was the PTA workload, told myself a lot of things. There was this one moment in March that should have been a bigger red flag. Tyler mentioned offhand that Mr. Chambers, the vice principal, this guy named David Chambers, had stopped by our house one afternoon when I was traveling for work. To drop off school supplies for Mom, Tyler said. I asked Amanda about it later, casually. She barely looked up from her laptop. Oh yeah, just some poster board for the fundraiser. Saved me a trip to Staples. I didn't think anything of it. Amanda also started dressing differently for school events. Designer dresses I didn't remember her buying, new perfume, this sudden obsession with the gym. She'd always been in good shape, but now she was going 5 times a week, coming home flushed and energized. I thought she was just taking care of herself. I thought a lot of stupid things. Tyler's behavior shifted too, probably around April. He got quieter. He'd always been a chatty kid, the type to tell you every detail of his day. But suddenly he was giving one-word answers at dinner. His grades were still perfect, straight A's, glowing teacher comments. But the school counselor sent home a note saying he seemed distracted in class. Amanda brushed it off as preteen hormones. I was in the middle of a major product launch at work, so I didn't push. There was this one dinner in early May that I remember really clearly now. It was a Tuesday. I'd actually made it home by 6:30 for once. We were sitting at our kitchen table, the fancy farmhouse one Amanda had picked out, and she was going on and on about the upcoming annual gala on May 18th, how it was going to be the biggest fundraiser in Oak Ridge history, how she'd secured the auditorium and a string quartet, how we were going to announce our family's $50,000 donation to the school's STEM program. I was half listening, exhausted, pushing pasta around my plate. Tyler was completely silent, staring at his food. Amanda said something like, "Robert, are you even listening? This is important to me." I looked up and said, "Yeah, of course, it sounds great, honey." She smiled, satisfied. Tyler excused himself early, said he wasn't hungry. I should have followed him. I didn't. I had no idea that was the last dinner we'd eat as a family. Well, as what I thought was a family. May 7th, 2024. That's the date everything shattered. It was a Tuesday night around 11:17 p.m. I remember the exact time because I looked at my computer clock right before Tyler appeared in my doorway. I was working late in my home office, trying to finish a quarterly report. Amanda had been at a PTA budget meeting until 10:30, had come home and gone straight to bed. The house was quiet. Then I heard this small sound from the hallway, kind of like a shuffle. I turned around and there was Tyler, standing in the doorway in his pajamas, his face blotchy and wet. My stomach dropped immediately. "Buddy, what's wrong? Bad dream?" He shook his head, stood there for a long moment, and I could see him trying to decide something. Then he whispered, so quiet I almost didn't hear it. "Dad, I saw Mom kissing Mr. Chambers." The world stopped. I heard the words, but my brain couldn't process them. I said something like, "What? What do you mean?" Tyler started crying harder. He came into the office, and I pulled him onto my lap like I used to when he was little. He told me the whole story between sobs. A week ago, April 30th, he'd stayed after school for chess club. Mr. Chambers supervised chess club. Tyler had forgotten his jacket. Went back to get it from Chambers' office. The door was cracked open. He walked up and saw them, his mom and Mr. Chambers, standing close together, kissing, not a peck on the cheek, kissing. Tyler said he just ran. Grabbed his jacket from the hallway and ran to the car where Amanda was waiting. She asked why he took so long. He lied, said he couldn't find his jacket. He'd been carrying this for a week. A whole week. He was 10 years old. I held him and told him it wasn't his fault, that he did the right thing telling me, that I'd handle it. I put him to bed and promised him everything would be okay. I had no idea if that was true. Then I sat alone in my office for over an hour just staring at the wall. My brain was trying to find alternative explanations. Maybe Tyler misunderstood what he saw. Maybe it was innocent. But even as I was thinking it, I knew. Deep down, I knew. All those late nights, the phone password, the way she'd stopped looking me in the eye when we had sex, the few times we had sex. I knew. I almost went to our bedroom right then. Almost shook Amanda awake and demanded the truth, but something stopped me. Maybe it was cowardice. Maybe it was strategy. Probably both. I realized that if I confronted her without proof, she'd deny it. She'd tell me Tyler was confused, that I was paranoid, that I was never around anyway, so how would I know what was going on? She'd flip it on me. And Tyler would be in the middle of it, his word against hers. So I decided to investigate first, get proof, then decide what to do. That decision ate at me, by the way. There were nights during that investigation period where I'd lie next to her in bed, feeling her breath on my neck, knowing what she'd done, and I'd have to grip the sheets to keep from screaming. But I kept my face neutral, went through the motions. I became a ghost in my own life. The investigation started the next day, May 8th. I began watching Amanda's patterns more carefully. She had a PTA meeting that Thursday, May 10th. Said it was from 7 to 10. I pretended to work late in my office, but I was actually tracking her phone location on Find My Friends. She hadn't thought to hide that yet. She was at the school. Okay, maybe the meeting was real, but I dug into the PTA website and found the meeting minutes. The meeting ended at 8:30 p.m. according to the notes. Amanda's phone showed her at the school until 9:45 p.m., an extra hour and 15 minutes. I started going through our joint credit card statements. Found 4 charges at the Fairfield Inn over the past 2 months. February 14th, Valentine's Day, that's cute. March 8th, March 29th, April 19th, all weekday afternoons between 1 and 4 p.m. Every time, Amanda had told me she was doing school setup or meeting with vendors. The charges were always the same. $187.50, a room rate. I found hidden Venmo transactions when I finally got access to her account through our shared laptop. She'd sent David Chambers $200 on February 3rd. With the note, for the books, there were no books. Tyler's school supplies things through the school, free. On May 13th, I got my break. Amanda left her phone charging in the kitchen while she took a shower. I'd tried her password before. Used to be Tyler's birthday, 0614. She'd changed it. I tried our anniversary. Nothing. Her birthday. Nothing. Then, I don't know why. I tried the school's zip code, 06824. It worked. I went straight to her messages, found a deleted thread with DC in the recently deleted folder. They weren't fully gone. I started reading and felt physically ill. Can't wait for our Chicago trip next week. Tyler almost saw us today. We need to be more careful. I'm falling in love with you. I told him I'm at a fundraising dinner. We have until 11. There were dozens, hundreds maybe. I scrolled back and back. The earliest message I could find was from October 17th, 2023. Last night was amazing. I can't stop thinking about you. So, at least 7 months, probably longer. I screenshot everything before she got out of the shower. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone twice. I backed up the screenshots to my personal email to a cloud drive, printed them at my office the next day. I was meticulous. If you've ever been betrayed, you understand. The thought of them denying it, of gaslighting you, is almost worse than the betrayal itself. That night, lying next to her, I decided. This wasn't just an affair, it was systematic, calculated, long-term. She'd used our son's school, her volunteer position, our family's reputation as a cover. She'd manipulated everyone, me, the other parents, the school, and David Chambers, the vice principal, had given Tyler special treatment to keep the affair hidden. I'd seen messages referencing, "I made sure T's project got an A," and "I'll handle that detention, don't worry." This was bigger than just cheating. It was abuse of power, corruption, using our child as a pawn. A quiet divorce wasn't going to cut it. If I filed privately, Amanda would control the narrative. She'd paint herself as the dedicated mom driven away by the absent workaholic husband. Chambers would keep his job, keep his respect. Tyler would grow up watching these people get away with it, learning that lies work if you're charismatic enough. I decided that night. I was going to burn it all down, publicly, at the one event Amanda cared about most. On May 15th, I hired a private investigator. Found her through a colleague who'd gone through a messy divorce. Margaret Hayes, former detective, had a reputation for being thorough and discreet. I met her at a coffee shop 30 minutes from our town, paid her $5,000 as a retainer. I gave her everything I had and asked for more. I needed documentation, photos, video if possible, timeline, evidence of Chambers abusing his position. She said she'd have a preliminary report in a week. I said I needed it in 2 days. Paid her double. She delivered. Margaret's report arrived May 17th, one day before the gala. It was 47 pages long, and every page made me feel sicker and angrier. 47 documented meetings between Amanda and David over 8 months. Hotels, mostly. The Fairfield Inn, but also a Holiday Inn in New Haven, when they wanted more distance. His car parked at secluded spots near the state park. Her car in his driveway twice, when his wife was visiting her sister in Rhode Island. Photos of them at a restaurant in New Haven, holding hands across the table. Video of them entering a hotel room together at 2:15 p.m. on a Wednesday in April. Amanda had told me she was at a curriculum planning meeting with the teachers. But the worst part was the evidence of Chambers' misconduct with Tyler. Margaret had filed a Freedom of Information Act request with the school district, public schools, public records. She got copies of Tyler's grade reports with teacher notes. Found 2 instances where Tyler's grades had been changed. A science project graded B+ by the teacher, changed to A by Chambers with a note, "Exceptional work." A math test graded 87 by the teacher, bumped to 95 with no explanation in the system, just Chambers' digital signature. There was also a disciplinary record. Tyler had apparently gotten in a fight with another kid in March, pushed him during recess. Normal teacher protocol was detention and parent notification. The record showed the teacher filed the incident report, but it was marked, "Resolved by administration, no action needed by Chambers." Amanda and I were never told. Tyler never mentioned it, because he never got in trouble for it. Chambers was giving our son preferential treatment. Better grades, lighter discipline to keep Amanda happy. To keep the affair going, I sat in my car in the work parking garage reading that report. And at page 32, I had to stop because I couldn't see through the tears. Then the tears turned to rage, and I punched my steering wheel until my hand hurt. I called my brother Andrew in Boston, told him everything. He said, "Rob, Jesus Christ, come stay with me. File for divorce. Get Tyler out of there." I said, "Not yet. One more day." That night, May 17th, was surreal. I went home. Amanda was in full gala prep mode, her dress laid out, talking a mile a minute about the seating chart and the donation announcement. She was radiant, excited, completely oblivious. Tyler was in his room, quiet. I went up to say goodnight. He looked at me with these big, sad eyes and whispered, "Dad, are you going to talk to Mom?" I said. "Soon, buddy, I promise. Everything's going to change soon." After Tyler was asleep, I sat in my office and made a choice. I could do this quietly, file for divorce, get a good lawyer, fight it out in private, protect Tyler from the public spectacle, be the bigger person, or I could make them pay in front of everyone. Destroy the lie that Amanda had built. Make sure Chambers lost his job. Make sure everyone who had praised Amanda and attended her events and called our family goals knew exactly what she was. I chose the second path. Not just for revenge, though yeah, I wanted revenge. But because I realized that if I didn't, the lie would win. Amanda would spin it. She'd tell people I was never there, that she was lonely, that she found connection with someone who understood her. She'd be the victim. Chambers would get a slap on the wrist, maybe transferred to another school. And Tyler would learn that you can betray everyone who trusts you and walk away unscathed if you're good at performing. I thought to myself, perfect families don't exist, only perfect lies. Time to destroy the lie. I spent May 18th executing my plan. It was a Saturday. Amanda was at the school all day doing setup. I had the house to myself. First call, my attorney. Emergency Saturday morning meeting with Sandra Brennan, a divorce lawyer a colleague had recommended. I brought her the PI report, the screenshots, everything. She reviewed it in her office while I drank bad coffee from her Keurig. After an hour, she looked up and said, "This is as clear-cut as it gets. Fault-based divorce, infidelity with evidence. Connecticut still recognizes this. You'll get primary custody easily, especially with the evidence of Chambers' inappropriate involvement with your son. Alimony will be minimal given the circumstances." I said, "Can you have divorce papers ready by 6 p.m. today?" She blinked. "Today? Let me call my paralegal." She made it happen. Cost me a $15,000 retainer and a promise of more fees to come. I didn't care. While she prepped the papers, I sent an anonymous email to the school board and superintendent. I'd set up a burner email account days earlier. Used a VPN, the works. The email was detailed. Timeline of the affair. Evidence of Chambers giving Tyler preferential treatment. Photos of them entering the hotel. Screenshots of text messages discussing being more careful around students and staff. I attached the PI's report, minus the pages that identified me. I sent copies to all 7 school board members, the superintendent, the district ethics committee. The subject line was Vice Principal David Chambers, ethics violations and abuse of position. I ended the email with, "If this is not investigated immediately and thoroughly, I will go public with this information." I hit send at 2:37 p.m. Third move. I'd already pledged the $50,000 donation to the school. Amanda had been thrilled. It was going to be the centerpiece of the gala, this big announcement that the Patterson family was funding the new STEM lab. I called the school's development director and said I wanted to make brief remarks when the donation was announced, standard practice for major gifts. She said absolutely and added me to the program. What she didn't know was that I'd also prepared a different announcement. I'm a software engineer. I know my way around audio editing and presentation software. I'd pulled the audio from one of Amanda's voicemails to Chambers, cleaned it up and created a clip. I'd also made a slideshow of screenshots, dates, times, locations. Nothing explicit, nothing that would traumatize anyone, but damning enough. I'd volunteered to help with AV setup earlier in the week, so I already had access to the system. That afternoon, before the gala started, I uploaded my files to the laptop connected to the auditorium projector, set them up in a hidden folder, tested the audio to make sure it would play through the sound system. It worked perfectly. Fourth move, Tyler. I called Andrew and told him the plan. He drove down from Boston that afternoon, picked Tyler up from our house, told him they were going on a surprise trip to Grandma and Grandpa's in Vermont. Tyler was confused, but excited. I hugged him tight before they left and said, "I love you, buddy. Everything's going to be okay, I promise." I didn't tell him what I was about to do. I didn't want him anywhere near the blast radius. My parents knew the full story. I'd called them the night before. My mom cried. My dad, a retired Marine, said, "Do what you need to do, son. We've got Tyler. Last move." I called my therapist, Dr. Chen. I'd started seeing her the week after Tyler told me about the affair. Needed someone to talk to who wasn't family. I told her about my plan for the gala. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "Robert, I need to ask you something. Are you doing this for Tyler or for you?" I said, "Both, maybe mostly for me. But also, if I don't, the lie wins. She gets to keep being the perfect mom. He gets to keep being the respected VP. Tyler grows up thinking this is normal." Dr. Chen said, "I can't tell you what to do, but whatever you choose, you'll have to live with it. Make sure it's worth it." I hung up, looked at myself in the bathroom mirror, put on my suit, the charcoal gray one I wore to important meetings, adjusted my tie, put the divorce papers in my inside jacket pocket, put a USB drive with backup files in my other pocket, just in case. I looked at my reflection and barely recognized myself. The guy staring back was cold, determined, not the conflict-avoidant provider who'd been sleepwalking through his marriage for years. Someone new, someone who'd been pushed too far. I thought, tonight, the perfect family dies. Tomorrow we deal with what's left. The gala started at 6. I arrived at 6:15, fashionably late. Oak Ridge Elementary's auditorium was transformed. White string lights, elegant table settings, a string quartet playing near the stage. There had to be 200 people there, maybe more. Parents dressed like it was a wedding, teachers in their best outfits, school board members, even a couple of local politicians who Amanda had somehow charmed into attending. I spotted Amanda immediately. She was near the stage in a navy blue cocktail dress I'd never seen before. Probably cost $400. Her hair was professionally done. She was holding court with a circle of other PTA moms, laughing, gesturing with a wine glass. She looked happy. Genuinely happy. It made me sick. David Chambers was there too, across the room. Charcoal suit, burgundy tie, playing the professional educator. He was talking to the principal, Mrs. Grant, and a couple of teachers, smiling, nodding, completely at ease. He and Amanda weren't interacting publicly. Too careful for that. But I saw them exchange a glance across the room. A small smile. A look that said, "We did it. We pulled off another one." I got a whiskey from the bar, downed it, ordered another. The program started at 7:30. Principal Grant took the stage, welcomed everyone, gave a speech about community and our children's future, introduced various board members who droned on about budget allocations and test scores. The crowd was getting restless. Then Grant said the line, "And now I'd like to introduce the heart and soul of Oak Ridge Elementary, our incredible PTA president, Amanda Patterson." The room erupted in applause. People stood. Amanda walked to the stage, blushing, waving like a celebrity. She took the microphone. "Thank you all so much for being here tonight," she began. Her voice was warm, practiced. "You know, when I first joined the PTA 7 years ago, I never imagined we'd build something this amazing together. This community, you all have made me the luckiest woman in the world." I gripped my whiskey glass so hard I thought it might shatter. She went on, talked about the fundraising successes, the new playground, the STEM lab they were planning. Thanked the volunteers, the teachers, the board. Then she got to the big moment. "And tonight, I'm so proud to announce that our family, my husband Robert, our son Tyler, and we're donating $50,000 to Oak Ridge Elementary to fund the new STEM lab, because we believe in investing in our children's future." Huge applause, people cheering. Amanda was beaming. She looked out at the crowd, found me in the 3rd row, and smiled. "And now I'd like to invite my husband Robert up to say a few words about why this cause is so important to us." This was it, the moment. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I stood up, walked to the stage. Amanda handed me the microphone, still smiling. I looked out at the sea of faces, parents I'd seen at school events, teachers who'd taught Tyler, board members who set policy, David Chambers in the third row, looking mildly interested. I took a breath. "Thank you all for coming tonight," I said. My voice sounded steadier than I felt. "I want to start by thanking Amanda for all her hard work on this event. She's put in countless hours, countless late nights, so much dedication." Amanda nodded, still smiling. She had no idea. But I need to make a correction to something Amanda just said. She said she's the luckiest woman in the world. That's not true anymore. Because as of 3 hours ago, she became the soon-to-be ex-wife of someone who knows exactly what she's been doing for the past 8 months. The room went dead silent. You could hear the air conditioning humming. Amanda's smile froze on her face, then crumbled. Her eyes went wide. Whispers started immediately. I saw David Chambers sit up straight, his face going pale. I pulled out my phone, hit the button I'd pre-programmed. Amanda's voice filled the auditorium through the sound system. "David, I can't wait until Robert's next trip to Chicago. I'm falling in love with you. This feels like the first time I've been truly alive in years. Meet me at the usual place." Gasps. Someone said, "Oh my God." Amanda made a choking sound. People turned to look at David Chambers, who had stood up like he was going to bolt. I wasn't done. I clicked to the next slide on the projector. The screen behind me lit up with screenshots, text messages, dates, and timestamps visible. "Tyler almost caught us today. I told Robert I'm at a PTA meeting. Can't wait to feel you again." More gasps. Someone started crying. I think it was one of Amanda's close friends. The principal looked like she'd been slapped. Next slide. Hotel receipts. The Fairfield Inn, February 14th, March 8th, March 29th, April 19th, $187.50 each, charged to our joint credit card while Amanda told me she was at school set-up events. Next slide. A timeline. October 2023, May 2024, 47 documented meetings between Amanda Patterson and Vice Principal David Chambers. Next slide. Vice Principal. Chambers altered student grades and disciplinary records to conceal the affair. Evidence submitted to the school board as of 2:37 p.m. today. The room was in chaos now. People yelling. Amanda was sobbing openly on stage, frozen in place. David Chambers was trying to push through the crowd toward the exit. Principal Grant was on her feet, looking horrified. I clicked back to a blank slide and spoke into the microphone again. About that $50,000 donation. I'm still making it, but not to Oak Ridge Elementary. I'm donating it to the Connecticut Coalition Against Domestic Abuse and Family Trauma, in honor of my son Tyler, who had to witness his mother's betrayal and carry that secret for weeks because he was afraid of destroying our family. I paused, looked directly into the crowd, even though I couldn't see Tyler there. "Tyler, buddy, if you ever watch this or hear about it, it was never your job to protect Mom's secrets. You did the right thing telling me. I'm so proud of you." My voice cracked a little on that part. I steadied myself. "And David?" I turned to look at Chambers, who had stopped trying to leave and was just standing there, trapped by the crowd. "I hope it was worth your career, your marriage, and your reputation. You used your position of authority to manipulate a parent and give her child unfair treatment to conceal your affair. The school board has a full report, including evidence of grade alterations and disciplinary favoritism. I'm sure they'll be in touch on Monday." I pulled the envelope from my jacket pocket, walked over to Amanda, who was still frozen on stage, mascara running down her face. I handed her the divorce papers. "Amanda, you're being served. Our marriage is over. I'll be in touch through my attorney." I set the microphone down on the podium, walked off the stage. The auditorium was in complete chaos. People yelling, crying, the principal trying to shout for order, parents pulling out their phones. I walked straight down the center aisle, out the main doors, into the parking lot. Got in my car, started the engine, made it about 2 blocks before I had to pull over. I was shaking so hard I couldn't drive. Sat there in a random parking lot for 20 minutes, gasping for air. At one point, I opened the car door and threw up. My phone was going insane. Texts, calls, voicemails. I turned it off. Just sat there in silence. Finally, texted my brother from my Apple Watch. "It's done." He replied immediately. "Tyler's safe. Mom and Dad say you can call when you're ready. You okay?" I didn't know how to answer that. I typed, "I don't know." The next 72 hours were a blur. I stayed at a Marriott near my office. Couldn't face going home. Turned my phone back on Sunday morning to find 147 text messages, 63 missed calls, and 32 voicemails. Amanda's sister, Jessica, had left a screaming voicemail. "You destroyed her in front of everyone! You're a monster! How could you do this to Tyler?" My brother, "Call me when you can. Tyler knows something happened, but not details. He's asking questions." My lawyer, Sandra, "Well, that was certainly a strategy. Call me Monday. We need to talk about next steps." Several parents from the school, some supportive. "I can't believe she did this. I'm so sorry." Some horrified. That was incredibly cruel to expose her like that. Some just nosy. "OMG, what is happening? Please call me." Rachel, one of Amanda's former PTA friends. "Robert, I don't know what to say. I'm so sorry, I had no idea. If you need anything." I deleted most of them. Called my brother Sunday afternoon. He put Tyler on. "Dad, are you okay?" My son's voice, small and scared. "Yeah, buddy, I'm okay. Are you having fun with Grandma and Grandpa?" "I guess." "Dad, why did Uncle Andrew come get me?" "Is something wrong with Mom?" I closed my eyes. "Mom and I are having some grown-up problems. But you're safe, and I love you, and we're going to figure everything out. Okay?" "Okay." Pause. "Is it because of what I told you? About Mr. Chambers?" "Tyler, listen to me. None of this is your fault. You did exactly the right thing. I'm going to come get you tomorrow, and we'll talk about everything. I promise." After I hung up, I sat on the hotel bed and stared at the wall for an hour. The school's response came fast. Sunday night, I got an email from Principal Grant, sent to all Oak Ridge families. Subject: Important update regarding school administration. Dear Oak Ridge families, the school board has been made aware of serious allegations regarding Vice Principal David Chambers. Effective immediately, Mr. Chambers has been placed on administrative leave, pending a full investigation. We take all ethics violations extremely seriously and are committed to transparency and accountability. We will provide updates as appropriate. Thank you for your patience and understanding during this difficult time. By Monday morning, the local news had picked it up. Vice Principal suspended amid affair allegations at prestigious Connecticut elementary school. They didn't name Amanda, but anyone in our town knew exactly who they were talking about. The fallout was swift and brutal, for everyone. Amanda's PTA position, gone within 48 hours. The executive board sent her a terse email asking for her resignation for the good of the organization. She resigned. Her successor was announced 3 days later. Her social circle collapsed like a house of cards. The mom squad, the 5 women she did everything with, the ones who commented on all her Instagram posts, the ones who planned girls' weekends and wine nights, all ghosted her. Every single one. A few days later, Rachel sent me a message. "I'm so sorry we didn't see this, Robert. I can't believe we were so blind." Amanda's parents, very traditional Catholics from Rhode Island, were horrified. Her father called me, actually apologized for his daughter's behavior, said they were re-evaluating their relationship with her. Her mother wouldn't take Amanda's calls for a month. Her sister, Jessica, initially defended her. I saw the Facebook posts, all about nobody knows the real story, and there are two sides to everything. But apparently, Amanda broke down and confessed everything in a phone call because a week later Jessica went silent, eventually went low contact with Amanda. The neighborhood turned on her too. Fairfield County is a small world even though it's wealthy. Everyone knows everyone. The book club she attended, uninvited, the gym where she'd spent all those hours. People literally turned their backs when she walked in. She stopped going. Other parents at school pickup, before we transferred Tyler, would glare at her or whisper when she drove past. The community Facebook groups were brutal. I didn't participate, but people sent me screenshots. Hundreds of comments debating what happened. Some people actually tried to defend Amanda. Maybe the husband was never home. Maybe she was lonely. We don't know their marriage. But most were harsh. She used the PTA as cover to cheat. That's disgusting. Poor Tyler. What kind of mother does this? Instagram was worse. Amanda's perfect curated feed, all those family photos, all those inspirational quotes about motherhood and gratitude, became a crime scene. People were commenting on months-old posts. How many of these PTA meetings were actually hookups? Fake. Liar. She eventually deleted her account. The worst part was seeing Amanda in person, the one time we had to meet with lawyers in early June. She looked like a ghost of herself. Lost probably 15 pounds, hair unwashed, no makeup. She wouldn't look at me. Her lawyer did all the talking. David Chambers' life imploded even faster. The school board investigation took 3 weeks. They found everything the PI had found, plus more. Internal emails between Chambers and teachers discussing Tyler's grades. Evidence that he'd overridden teacher decisions on Tyler's disciplinary issues. Proof that he'd used his school computer to communicate with Amanda during work hours. A clear violation of district policy. May 25th. The board voted 7-0 to terminate his employment for cause, which meant no severance, no pension vesting, nothing. 22 years in education, gone. The Connecticut State Department of Education opened their own investigation into his teaching license. By late July, they'd revoked it. He would never work in education in Connecticut again, probably anywhere. His wife, Karen, filed for divorce the day after the gala. Got a restraining order, took their 2 teenage kids, a boy, 16, and a girl, 14, and moved to her sister's house. The divorce was finalized in August. She got everything, the house, primary custody, most of the assets. Chambers couldn't even fight it. What judge was going to side with him? His kids refused to speak to him. I heard through the grapevine that his son changed his last name to his mother's maiden name. Wanted nothing to do with the Chambers name anymore. David had to move in with his elderly mother in New Haven. I saw him once by accident at a Home Depot in September. He was wearing an employee vest. A manager vest, so I guess he'd found work. But still, from respected vice principal to Home Depot manager at 45 years old. He saw me, went white, and literally walked the other direction. I didn't follow. Someone from his old school told me he looks rough. Lost weight. Aged 10 years and 6 months. Apparently lives alone in a studio apartment now, barely speaks to his mother even though they're in the same town. His professional reputation was obliterated. His LinkedIn profile disappeared. His name became shorthand in local education circles for what not to do. I know this because one of the teachers at Oak Ridge, who felt bad about the whole situation, told me that at district professional development trainings that fall, they actually used the Chambers case as an example in ethics modules. Not by name, but everyone knew who they meant. The financial hit for both of them was severe. Amanda had no job, no income. She'd been living off my salary for years. Connecticut's divorce laws are complicated, but fault-based adultery meant I had huge leverage. My lawyer filed for emergency custody in late May, based on Amanda's pattern of deception and exposing the minor child to inappropriate adult situations. We got it. I got primary custody. She got supervised visitation. The financial settlement was brutal for her. Minimal alimony, only 2 years at $2,000 a month, which sounds like a lot until you remember she'd been living a lifestyle funded by $100 or $80K a year. I kept the house, 70% of our assets, my retirement accounts. She got her car and whatever money was in her personal accounts, which wasn't much. She had to move out by June 15th. Ended up in a small 2-bedroom apartment in the next town over. Had to get a job. Landed something in HR at a corporate office park. Entry level, maybe $45K a year. A massive step down from her former life. Her parents finally sent her some money in July after she apparently had a panic attack about not being able to pay rent. But the relationship was permanently damaged. But the moment that still haunts me, the moment that made me wonder if I'd gone too far, happened on June 2nd. I got a text from Jessica, Amanda's sister, at 2:17 p.m. She's in the hospital, panic attack. They have her on suicide watch. Are you happy now? I stood in my kitchen staring at that text for a long time. Amanda had been at the grocery store, apparently. Someone recognized her. One of the parents from school. Someone whose kid had been in Tyler's class. Made some snide comment. Amanda had a full panic attack right there in the produce section. Hyperventilating, chest pains, thought she was having a heart attack. Paramedics came. They took her to the ER. The ER doctor, seeing her mental state, referred her to psychiatric evaluation. They kept her overnight on a 72-hour hold because she'd made some comment about not wanting to be alive anymore. When I heard that, I felt something crack inside me. Not guilt exactly. I was still too angry for guilt. But something. A flash of doubt. Had I destroyed her too completely? I'd wanted consequences. Wanted her to face what she'd done. But did I want her to want to die? I called Dr. Chen, my therapist, and told her what happened. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, "Robert, you exposed the truth. What she's experiencing now is the natural consequence of her choices. You didn't cause her mental health crisis. Her actions and the collapse of her lies did. But I need you to ask yourself, if you could go back, would you do it the same way?" I didn't have an answer. Amanda got out of the hospital after 3 days, started seeing a therapist twice a week. Court mandated for her to keep even supervised visitation with Tyler. Got on anxiety medication. By all accounts, she was trying to get better, but the damage was done. Tyler, meanwhile, was struggling in his own way. We'd started him in therapy the week after the gala. Dr. Lisa Hernandez, a child psychologist who specialized in family trauma. Tyler went twice a week that first month. He was angry, confused, sad. Blamed himself even though I kept telling him it wasn't his fault. He had nightmares, anxiety about school. Not Oak Ridge specifically, but school in general. He'd wake up at 2 a.m. crying, saying he was scared. Of what? He couldn't always articulate it, just scared. The child psychologist said it was normal. His entire world had been shattered. The mom he'd thought was perfect was flawed. The school environment he'd trusted had been corrupted by an adult in power. And even though I'd tried to shield him from the details, kids aren't stupid. He knew I'd done something public, something big. He'd heard whispers from other kids before we transferred him. One night in late May, Tyler asked me point blank, "Dad, did you yell at Mom in front of people?" I took a breath. Decided to be honest, age-appropriate honest. I told people the truth about what Mom had been doing, and yes, I did it in front of a lot of people, at the school gala. Why? Because... I paused, trying to find the right words. Because Mom had been lying to everyone for a long time, and I wanted people to know the truth. I wanted her to face what she'd done. Tyler looked at me with those big eyes. "Was it because of what I told you? Did I make you do it?" "No, buddy. No, I made that choice. You just told me the truth. You did the right thing. What happened after was my decision, not yours. He nodded slowly, then quieter. Is Mom a bad person? God, that question broke me. I wanted to say yes, I wanted to list every terrible thing she'd done. But he was 10 years old, and she was still his mother. Mom made really bad choices, I said carefully. She hurt our family, she lied. But people can make bad choices and still be good sometimes. It's complicated. Do you still love her? No, buddy. Not like I used to. But I'll always be glad we had you together. That part was good. He seemed to accept that, but I could see him processing, trying to make sense of a world that had gotten so much more complicated than it should be for a 10-year-old. The decision to transfer Tyler to a new school was made in June. Elm Street Academy, a private school in a different town. Cost a fortune, $28,000 a year, but it was worth it. Tyler needed a fresh start, somewhere nobody knew about the PTA scandal or that kid whose parents had the big divorce. He started 5th grade there in September 2024. The first few weeks were hard. New school, new kids, starting over. But slowly, he found his footing, made a friend, then another, joined the chess club again, started smiling more. We got a dog in July. Tyler's idea. A golden retriever puppy we named Biscuit. Tyler took responsibility for walking him, training him. Having something to care for seemed to help. By October, Dr. Hernandez said Tyler was making excellent progress. Still had hard days, still asked difficult questions sometimes, but he was healing. One Saturday morning in late October, we were making pancakes. We'd started this ritual every Sunday morning, pancakes and talking about one thing that made you happy this week. Tyler was flipping the pancakes, concentrating hard. Biscuit was begging for scraps. I was making coffee. Tyler said out of nowhere, "Dad, I'm glad we're still together. Just us is okay." I had to turn away so he wouldn't see me tearing up. Yeah, buddy, just us is more than okay. As for me, I was trying to rebuild too. Work had been understanding. I'd taken a month off in June, the first real vacation I'd had in years. Spent it with Tyler, went to Vermont to stay with my parents, did some hiking, some fishing, tried to decompress. When I came back, I made a big decision. I'd been a manager for 6 years, 60, 70-hour weeks, constant stress, always on call. I negotiated with my company to move to a senior individual contributor role. Took a slight pay cut down to $165K. But the quality of life improvement was massive. No more managing people, no more constant meetings, just technical work I was actually good at. And I could work from home 3 days a week. It meant I was home for dinner with Tyler 5 nights a week. Could pick him up from school sometimes, could actually be present. The irony wasn't lost on me. Amanda had complained for years that I was never around, and it took her destroying our marriage for me to realize she was right about that part. I started actually taking care of myself. Went to therapy every week, started running in the mornings, reconnected with friends I'd lost touch with during the marriage. My brother Andrew and I talked on the phone twice a week. My parents visited more often. In September, something unexpected happened. Rachel, one of Amanda's former PTA friends, the one who'd reached out after the gala, sent me an email. She apologized for not seeing what was happening, said she'd also stepped away from the toxic PTA culture. We got coffee, then another coffee. Started texting. Rachel was a single mom, divorced 3 years ago. Her ex had cheated too. Different circumstances, but same betrayal. We understood each other. By November, we were dating. Nothing serious, just nice. Having someone to talk to who got it. Tyler liked her. She didn't try to be his mom, just treated him like a person. Her daughter, Emily, was a year younger than Tyler. They got along. I wasn't ready for anything serious, and Rachel knew that. We were just 2 damaged people, helping each other remember what normal felt like. Amanda and Tyler's relationship, that was complicated. The supervised visits in June and July were awkward. Tyler would come back quiet, wouldn't talk about them much. Amanda told me through her lawyer that she was trying, that she loved him, that she was getting help. By August, the court allowed unsupervised visits. Every other weekend, Tyler would spend Saturday afternoon with Amanda. She'd take him to movies, to the park, normal stuff. He'd come back and I'd ask how it went. Fine, he'd say. Not enthusiastic, not angry, just fine. In October, Tyler asked me something that surprised me. "Dad, do you still hate Mom?" We were in the car, heading home from his chess tournament. I thought about it, really thought about it. "No," I said finally. "I'm not angry anymore. I was for a long time, but being angry didn't help anyone. It didn't change what happened. So I just let it go." "Do you think she's sorry?" "I think she's sorry she got caught. I think she's sorry things ended the way they did. Whether she's sorry for what she actually did." I shrugged. "I don't know, Bud. That's between her and her therapist." Tyler was quiet for a bit. Then, "I still love her. Is that okay?" My chest tightened. Of course that's okay. She's your mom. You're allowed to love her and be mad at her at the same time. Both things can be true. He nodded, satisfied. By November 2024, 6 months after the gala, I went to therapy, and Dr. Chen asked me the question she'd asked before. If you could go back, would you do it the same way? I sat with that for a long time. Finally said, I don't know. Part of me stands by it. I exposed them. They faced consequences. Amanda lost her fake perfect image. Chambers lost his job and his family. The truth came out. All of that needed to happen. But I also traumatized my son by making it so public. I didn't just divorce Amanda. I humiliated her in front of 200 people. I made it about revenge when it should have been about protecting Tyler. I got caught up in wanting to destroy her, and I didn't think enough about the collateral damage. Do you regret it? I regret not finding a better way. I don't regret that they faced consequences. But maybe there was a version where I got justice without the spectacle. Maybe I could have handled it through lawyers, through the school board quietly, through a divorce that didn't involve public humiliation. I paused. Or maybe I'm just saying that now because I feel guilty about Amanda's panic attack and Tyler's nightmares. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Dr. Chen nodded. That's growth, Robert. Being able to hold both truths, that they deserved consequences and that you might have gone too far. That's maturity. I drove past Oak Ridge Elementary once in late November, saw the sign advertising the upcoming winter gala. Felt absolutely nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no regret. Just nothing. I kept driving. So here we are, January 2025. 8 months since the gala. Here's where everyone ended up. Amanda's working that corporate HR job, living in her modest apartment. She's in therapy, on medication for anxiety. Still sees Tyler every other weekend. Their relationship is slowly improving. Tyler told me last week that he and Amanda made cookies together and it was actually kind of fun. She's dating someone new, a guy she met at her gym. I don't know details, don't want to know. She's building a new life, quieter, smaller, but it's hers. Her parents eventually came around a little, sent her a Christmas card, helped her buy a used car when hers broke down. But the relationship is strained. Jessica, her sister, talks to her now but not often. The friend group from before is gone, but she's apparently made new friends, people who don't know her history. In early December, she sent me an email. Subject, I'm sorry. Body, I know you'll never forgive me and I don't expect you to, but I'm sorry for what I put Tyler through. I'm sorry for the lies, for the betrayal, for everything. I hope he's doing okay. I hope you both are. I read it 3 times, didn't respond. What was there to say? David Chambers is managing that Home Depot in New Hampshire, living alone. His kids still won't speak to him. I heard through someone who knew someone that his daughter graduated high school last spring and he wasn't invited to the ceremony. His ex-wife has fully moved on, remarried actually. He's alone. The word on him is that he's deeply depressed, keeps to himself. One of the teachers from Oak Ridge told me she ran into him at a rest stop on I-95 and he looked hollow. I felt a flash of something, not satisfaction, not pity. Just acknowledgement. He destroyed his life. Actions have consequences. Tyler is doing great. Honor roll at Elm Street Academy. Has a solid friend group, 3 kids he hangs out with regularly. Still in therapy, but down to once a month now. Loves biscuit. Still plays chess, joined a coding club too. His relationship with Amanda is complicated, but real. He loves her. He's hurt by her. Both things coexist. He told me a few weeks ago. I don't think I'll ever understand why Mom did what she did, but she's still my mom. I told him that was fair. Me, primary custody, present father, career balanced, dating Rachel. We're taking it slow, but it's good. Still in therapy, working through the guilt and processing everything. I'm genuinely not angry anymore. I don't check Amanda's social media. Deleted her from everything months ago. Don't ask about David. Don't think about them unless Tyler brings something up. Tyler is my focus. Everything else is just noise. People still ask me sometimes, usually friends or colleagues who know the story, if I regret how I did it. The public reveal at the gala, the humiliation, the scorched earth approach. My answer is this. Some days, yes. I think about Amanda's panic attack, about Tyler's nightmares, about whether there was a quieter way to achieve the same result. A way where I got justice without the spectacle. But other days I remember why I did it. If I had handled it quietly, Amanda would have controlled the narrative. She'd still be the perfect PTA mom whose workaholic husband drove her away. She'd be the victim. David would have gotten a slap on the wrist, maybe transferred to another school, kept his pension, kept his reputation. Tyler would have learned that powerful people can lie and betray everyone who trusts them and walk away unscathed if they're charming enough. The truth is this. Perfect families don't exist. They never did. What I destroyed that night at the gala wasn't a real family. It was a performance, a carefully curated lie that we were all living. Amanda's Instagram posts, the community praise, the goals comments, all of it was built on a foundation of deception. What I have now, it's not perfect, it's messy. Tyler still has hard days. I still have moments where I question everything. Rachel and I are figuring out what we are. I'm still working on being the father I should have been all along, but it's real. It's built on truth. And there's something to be said for that. Last Sunday, Tyler and I were making our ritual pancakes. Biscuit was underfoot hoping for dropped batter. Tyler was telling me about a chess tournament coming up. Then out of nowhere, he asked, "Dad, do you think Mom still thinks about Mr. Chambers?" I paused mid-pour. "I don't know, buddy. Why?" He shrugged, flipping a pancake. "I was just wondering. Do you think she wishes things were different?" "I think everyone wishes things were different," I said carefully. "But we can't change the past. We can only decide what we do now." Tyler thought about that. Then, "I don't think I care anymore. About Mr. Chambers or any of that. I just want us to be okay." And I realized, we're okay. I don't know if what I did was right or wrong. I don't know if I'm a hero or a villain in this story. Probably neither. Probably just a guy who got pushed too far and pushed back the only way he knew how. What I do know is this. I protected my son. I exposed the truth. I made sure the people who betrayed us faced real consequences. And I'd do it again. The gala was 8 months ago. The divorce is final. The anger has faded to something quieter. Not forgiveness, just acceptance. What's left is just life. Tyler and me and biscuit and pancakes on Sunday mornings and chess tournaments and parent-teacher conferences at a new school where nobody knows our history. And for the first time in over a year, that's enough. Perfect families don't exist, only perfect lies. I learned that the hard way, but I also learned that after you burn down the lies, you can build something real in the ashes. It won't be perfect, it won't look like what you planned, but it'll be yours and it'll be true. And that's the only thing that matters.